Hello, everybody, and welcome to another English language lesson. This one is for grade 2 of secondary school. The topic is careers, and today we'll talk about some unusual jobs. My name is Rejhana, and I will be your teacher today. Danas ćete prepoznavati informacije u slušanom i pisanom tekstu, postavljati pitanja vezana uz posao i pisati dijalog na temu zaposlenja. Od pribora vam je potrebna kao inače bilježnica i olovka, uređaj s pristupom internetu i QR kod čitač. So, today we'll start with a fun activity. It's called From A to Z. We will name different jobs. Your task is to come up with one job for each letter of the alphabet. I know that some jobs for some letters can be a bit challenging, but I'd like you to do your best to think about it, and if you can't think of one right away, continue, skip it, and then return later on. Maybe something will come to your mind. I hope you'll enjoy this fun activity and activate your brain cells at the same time. On this slide, there are 6 images. Some represent jobs which are usual every day, but there are also some which are not so frequent. Can you guess from these images which jobs they represent? What do you think about the first one? What can you see in the picture? This one is an unusual and I could say a very attractive job. It's called a Netflix tagger. Netflix hires part-time employees to watch TV shows and movies and tag them with genres. This job is not easy to get because Netflix keeps the amount of taggers on their team small, but those who are fortunate enough to be selected, for them, I think it's really a dream job. The second picture, that's a chef. And we could say it belongs to the group of the usual jobs. As well as the next one, it's a teacher. Although these jobs are quite difficult, there are a lot of people with these professions. But what about the next one, the last one in the first row? What is in that picture? Do you know? These are Chinese fortune cookies, and you get them at the end of a meal in Chinese restaurants. And inside, you can find a sentence or two that predicts your future or gives some kind of advice. Can you guess the unusual job behind this photo? It's not baking the cookies. It's writing these sentences, these predictions, and it's called fortune cookie writer. It's quite an interesting job. Then there is a postman, also one of the more usual jobs. And the last one, what do you think about this last photo? This job is called bed rest participant. NASA occasionally hires people to participate in bed rest studies. In one study, people were paid $5,000 a month just to stay in bed, but for 87 days straight. Participants are set up with a TV, a computer, video games, and they're also allowed visitors. So, which one of these jobs would you like to try? Which one would you like to do? Why? Maybe watching films or staying in bed? Think about it. Now we'll talk about some questions you can ask a person when you talk about their job. Here are some examples. For example, the first question you can start with is, what do you do? Or what's your job? Then you can ask, do you like your job? What's a typical day at your job like? Do you have to work overtime, prekovremeno? Is it a full-time or a part-time job? Do you work long hours, meaning a lot? Now we'll get to know some more unusual jobs. Please type in this link or scan the code and watch this short video. While watching, you have two tasks to do. One is to list all the questions you hear in the video that you can ask a person about their job. There are some questions at the beginning and some at the end of the video. The second task is to write down the names of the jobs. There will only be 3. And one interesting thing you remember for each job. If it's necessary, of course, you can watch the video more than once. So please scan the code or type in the link and try. So here are the questions from the video. What do you do is the first one. Do you work for a big company or a small firm? Maybe you run your own business. Imate vlastiti posao. Are you self-employed? Do you work in an office or your job involves a lot of traveling? Are you happy with your job? And here are the jobs. The first one is food taster. Then there was a professional cuddler and a dog surfing instructor. Here are some suggested interesting information about each job, but you might have something else and it's perfectly okay. For example, food taster, he checks food safety of the rich and famous, and the job can be sometimes dangerous. These cuddlers, they can earn a lot of money, up to $80 an hour. And dog surfing instructors, they say that they were surprised that dogs also enjoy surfing as well as people. Next, we'll listen to two people talking about their unusual jobs. Can you guess their jobs based on these photos? In the first one, there are different colors of nail polish, and in the second, our favorite, ice cream. So what do you think these jobs are? If you don't know, you'll find out during the listening part. But first, let's take a look at this task. It's meant for you. After you hear these people speak, you should decide whether these statements here are true for the first or for the second speaker, but they can also be true for both speakers or neither of them. So you should listen very carefully, and here are the statements. Which of them, if any, works alone? Who earns more money a year? Who has to wear smart clothes at work? Who has a university degree? Who has food restrictions? Who loves their job? Who has fulfilled their childhood dream? Who says it's not difficult to get that job? And who creates new products? So let's listen and try to find out.
Ever since I was a little girl of 4 or 5, I was fascinated by my mother's infinite collection of nail polish bottles. She used different colors for different occasions, and I was thrilled when she would polish my nails in pink girly shades. Some years later, I started wondering what lies behind it. How are all these shades created? And more importantly, who gives them these fabulous and cute names? And now that's my job. I get to create nail polishes and give them names. It's not an easy job, though, and it doesn't have a standard workday schedule. It all depends on what our company's focus is at the time. Sometimes we work on the brand plans for the next period. We forecast trends, decide what products to launch, and my personal favorite, test them out. It's so much fun. We also decide on packaging and designs, monitor sales, and speak with influencers, celebrities, or bloggers who advertise them. Of course, I don't do that on my own. I have a great team and we work together perfectly. The most exciting part of my job is actually seeing the product we've launched on the shelves in stores. Sometimes I can't believe we've made it. The worst part is dealing with customers. No matter how much effort we put into it and test it, there will always be people who aren't satisfied and post about it on social media. I try to work it out with them, offering a refund and an apology, and it usually goes well. But it's stressful, and I would like all the customers to be happy with our product. I studied business in university and have a degree in marketing. I started my work experience as a marketing and sales assistant. Unfortunately, the competition in that department is huge, and you really have to stand out. You can also have a degree in fashion and art to get into the business. When it comes to creating and naming nail polishes, it can really be challenging. You must have a good sense of color and style, like I do. I also love decorating, fashion, and beauty. When I think of colors and create them, it's a great way to self express. I look for inspiration in food, music, and above all, in my travels. You have to be very imaginative and use all your personal experience. Everything can be an inspiration, you just need to be open minded. The process of naming a shade can last for about 6 hours, but it takes about 6 months to complete an entire collection. The salary in this line of work can vary between 60,000 and 90,000 pounds, depending on the scope of work you do. But what's more important than money in this profession is passion, and I am really enjoying it.
My job is to taste test ice cream. The job is also called taste master, food scientist, sensory analyst, or flavorist. It's a full-time job, and it includes assessment of different flavors based on texture, color, smell, and appearance. In addition, I also invent new ice cream flavors and present new flavors to customers at supermarkets. It's not usual to talk about money, but I can't complain. I earn up to £70,000 a year. I've been in the business for 23 years now, and I can say that I really like it. I usually start my day at 7:30 because my taste buds are most objective at that time. I spend about 5 hours tasting around 20 different flavors at different stages of production. 3 samples of each flavor, which makes 60 samples a day. From March to September, I also work in supermarkets around the country, where I give out samples of our new flavors. Creating new flavors is also a part of my job description. I have to be really imaginative there. Sometimes it works and people like it, but sometimes it doesn't. What are the requirements? Well, apart from being extremely imaginative, you'd need to be patient and have healthy taste buds. You need to evaluate each flavor as objectively as possible. Therefore, I never drink coffee. I have tea in the morning, and I also need to avoid anything that could clog my taste buds. Just to be sure, I have insured them for £1 million. First, I pay attention to the appearance of the ice cream. It must look good. The temperature of the ice cream for tasting is about 10 to 12 degrees. That's optimal. Then I swirl it around my mouth and spit it out. The positive side of my profession is that I can get an unlimited supply of ice cream, of course. And the fun part is that when somebody asks me what I do for a living, I can say, I eat ice cream. But there are some drawbacks as well. I have gained a few kilos, unfortunately. Of course, you can't be a smoker or eat anything spicy for 24 hours before tasting, since it would influence your taste buds. Jobs like mine are high in demand. You can't just come in and say, I want to be an ice cream taster. The standard procedure is to have a Bachelor of Science degree in dairy science or food science like me. It's also an advantage if you have had a part-time job in an ice cream parlour where you can gain first-hand experience in dairy, taste testing and business. I love my job and I hope to be able to do it until retirement.
So, what are their unusual jobs? The first speaker, the girl, her job is nail polish namer, and the second one is an ice cream taster. I hope you managed to mark the right columns, and now we'll check. Which of them works alone? Speaker number 2. Who earns more money a year? It was the first one. Who has to wear smart clothes at work? Neither of them. But Both of them have a university degree. Who has food restrictions? Of course, the second one. Who loves their job? Both of them. Who has fulfilled their childhood dream? It was the girl, the first one. Who says it's not difficult to get that job? Neither of them, so they both said it's quite difficult. And the last one, who creates new products? It's both of them, so they're both quite creative, imaginative. If you think that we have had enough of unusual jobs, you're wrong, we haven't. There are 13 more to learn about. So please follow this link and read these short descriptions of jobs and decide on the 3 that you find most interesting and you might consider doing. They're quite unusual, as you can understand from these photos. Now that you have read the text, you might have come across some words and phrases that might be new to you. And if you follow this link, you can match these words with their descriptions. The link is available to you at all times, and it's very useful for practice. Of course, you can copy the words and descriptions in your notebooks later. We will try to do this matching task together, and you can always go back using the provided link or the code and do the task on your own. It's very good for your practice. The first description says, poisonous liquid snakes produce. Which one is it? It's venom. So we just drag it here. A job or position that's very suitable for someone is a niche. To smell something is to sniff. An area of land used for playing golf is a golf course. An exciting, dangerous action is a stunt. A line of people waiting for something, that's a noun, it's a queue. Something containing many healthy substances needed for life and growth, it's an adjective and it's nutritious. Something that's not known to many people is obscure. Hidden or unable to be expressed, it's pent up. A part of something that's at a lower level is a dip. The hollow place under your arm, where your arm joins your body, is an armpit. An underwater plant is algae. To wait in a line of people, often to buy something. So here we had a noun, a line, and now there is the verb, it's the same. It's to queue. A sloping structure for sliding down that ends in a swimming pool or area of water, usually in amusement parks, is a water slide. Then we have a nasty, unpleasant thing. It's gross. And the last one, to reject, is the same as to decline. So that's it. You can always do this one on your own. And after all this hard work, I have something special for you. It's a breakout game. It's like an escape room where you need to solve all the tasks and challenges and collect the numbers for each task. In the end, you enter these numbers, there will be 4, to get your reward. All the questions are connected to the text you have just read, and you can find all the answers there. If you are not sure about something, you can always go back to the text and search for that information, and it's not cheating. But first, try to solve it on your own without looking. So here's the link and the code, and you are welcome to enter the breakout game. I hope you were successful and managed to answer the questions and collect all the numbers. And I also hope you had fun doing it. And now I have another fun task for you. You should write a dialogue. Imagine a friend of yours recently got a new unusual job. You need to create, imagine, or invent that job. And if you have problems with that, of course, you can use one of the jobs we talked about today. So, you should write a dialogue between you and that friend where you ask different questions about that job, and he, the friend, gives you the answers. So this is a great opportunity for you to be creative, and only sky is the limit. Here are some topics that might help you in doing that. So you should include questions about the job itself, what some usual tasks he does are. Does he work long hours and how many hours a week? What education does he need to have for that job? What does a typical day at work look like? What are the positive and what are the negative sides of that job? And you should write about 80 to 100 words. And of course, there's a checklist to help you. I'd like you to read the sentences carefully and check if you have completed all the tasks. You should, of course, include questions from today's lesson. And when you are done, you can send it to your teacher, to your virtual classroom teacher, to get some feedback on your work. I hope you had fun today and also learned something new. Until next time, bye bye.